A massive creature slithers through the Amazon. In New Mexico, something humanoid but not quite human is caught on camera creeping around at night. Then there's the thing crawling across someone's backyard on all fours, pale, thin, and twitchy. These are more real, mythical creatures caught on camera. This next clip is one of those "what the hell am I looking at" moments. It was filmed in Santa Fe, New Mexico sometime last summer, but that's about all we know. I really don't know how to explain what this thing is. Doesn't appear to be fully human, but I mean, maybe it is, I don't know. Now, New Mexico is no stranger to strange sightings. It's got a long history of chupacabra reports, the goat-sucking cryptid that's said to drain livestock. Sightings of these creatures pop up all across the Southwest, into Mexico, and even parts of South America. So naturally, people are wondering if this thing caught on camera could be a chupacabra. Others think it looks like a skinwalker caught mid-transformation. Whatever it is though, I can say for sure that I don't like it, and if I were living out there in Santa Fe and saw something like this slinking around, I'd be rethinking my zip code real fast. But what do you think? Real cryptid, elaborate hoax? Let us know down below. This next clip comes from deep in the Amazon rainforest, and if you're one of those people who roll their eyes at the idea of 50-foot snakes, this might give you second thoughts. Now, at first it looks like just another shot of something slithering through murky water, nothing too out of the ordinary, probably a big anaconda, right? But then the camera zooms out and you start to realize just how massive this thing really is. Some people say it could be a modern-day Titanoboa, a prehistoric snake that was said to grow over 40 feet long. Supposedly extinct for millions of years, but who really knows with a place like the Amazon? It's one of the most unexplored regions on Earth. If a monster-sized snake was going to survive anywhere without being found, this is definitely the place. Now, sure, this could be a trick of the camera. Maybe the angle makes the snake look bigger than it is, but when you see something that looks like it came straight out of the Jurassic period, moving that smoothly through a real jungle river, it's hard not to wonder what else might be out there. Sometimes it feels like we've just barely scratched the surface. How would you like to see this thing creeping through your backyard? In this video shared by TikTok user CryptTalker, a weird pale creature is caught crawling through someone's backyard in the middle of the night. It's moving on all fours and it looks way too thin to be a normal person. Its limbs are long and kind of jerky, and there's something really off about how it moves. A lot of people instantly compared it to the Rake, the creepy internet legend that's been floating around since the early 2000s, and this thing definitely has a similar vibe. The creature in the video doesn't really do much, just crawling along, but man, does it give me the creeps. Looks like it shouldn't exist. Too thin and lanky to be a person, but unlike any animal I've ever seen. Back in 2012, a trail cam on Whiteman Hill in Wetzel County, West Virginia picked up something very strange. A woman named Kelly Morgan submitted photos from her brother's deer camera that seemed to show a pale ghost-like figure wandering through the woods at night. According to Morgan, there's an old local legend about a young bride who was killed on her wedding day and that her spirit is said to roam the woods. She said her aunt told her the story, but it's mostly passed around as hearsay. Still, digging into the area's ghost tales, Morgan found a disturbing version of the story. Around 1882, 3 men allegedly took a young girl to a remote spot near Whiteman Hill, and after tormenting her, they hanged her. There is a small cemetery nearby that some think might be connected as well. The idea of a ghost bride fits into a much bigger pattern in folklore. Susan Dahl, co-author of Haunted Tales from the Holler, hadn't heard this exact story, but she did note how common ghost bride tales are, saying they are so common you could call them a bona fide subcategory. This has become a pretty famous image, right up there with the infamous Nessie photograph. This is supposedly photographic evidence of a creature called Champ that lives in Lake Champlain. There have been over 300 reported sightings of the creature over the years, but in 1977, amateur photographer Sandra Mansi spotted something sticking its head out of the water and snapped the now famous photo. Some describe Champ or Champy as a snake-like creature. Others say it's like an aquatic dinosaur, something like a plesiosaur. Champ has become a full-on local celebrity though. In Port Henry, New York, they built a giant statue of it. There's even a Champ Day festival every year. Businesses in the area, car washes, diners, gift shops, slap Champ on their logos, and Vermont's minor league baseball team is literally called the the lake monsters, with Champ as the mascot. It's a modern-day mythical creature, and people keep watching the lake, hoping to be the next to spot it. This next video comes out of Puerto Rico, captured on a hotel security camera. Take a look at this. That was kinda nuts. Definitely not a gust of wind. Something very clearly tugged at her hair. We just can't see what it was. Now, this hotel was built over one that had burnt down in 1986, and it's become kinda infamous for its paranormal activity. Guests and staff will say they hear disembodied voices and footsteps, or see weird shadows moving about, the usual ghostly flair. But this isn't just spooky, it's rude and incredibly annoying. Whoever this ghost is, they deserved to die in that fire, if that's how they go around behaving. This next photo comes from Reddit user Dan_Cukes, who writes, "My brothers and I went hammock backpacking in Pennsylvania last weekend. I was going through photos from the trip and started editing this one for an Instagram post. It wasn't long until I realized there was this incredibly human-like apparition / figure behind the campfire smoke just watching us. We never saw anything the whole day and night we were there, and we were 5 miles or so deep in the woods with no one around. It was a mile or so away from a small overgrown trail, so we were confident we'd be left alone. We don't know what to think of this and are pretty shook up over it." This eerie image was posted online by Reddit user Druzy. Looking closely, you can see a pale face with its mouth wide open, peering out the bottom of the window. Now, on its own, the image isn't all that amazing, but if the story attached to it is to be believed, it definitely makes for a creepy post. Druzy wrote, "I took this picture sometime in 2013. We'd always experienced things in this apartment. Footsteps, doors closing, lights on and off, blinds always falling off the window, but we never actually saw anything. I was on my way to work one day when I noticed the blinds in my room pressed against the window as if someone was spreading them apart. I snapped a picture to show my mom later, like, hey, look, the blinds were weird, like someone was pressing against them. Never been able to explain the face in the window though. There was nobody home except for my dog." This is a photograph of a beastly animal that was burnt alive by this group of brave men, the Hodag. This story comes out of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, a small town in the north of the state. It all started back in the 1890s when a local timber cruiser named Eugene Shepard came out saying that he'd come across this terrifying creature in the woods. According to his description, it had, quote, "the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant elephant, thick short legs set off by huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the end." Shepard claimed they had to use dynamite just to kill the beast. He'd even released a photo of the charred remains, calling it the, quote, "fiercest, strangest, most frightening monster ever to set razor-sharp claws on the earth." In 1896, Shepard said that he captured another Hodag alive with help from a few bear wrestlers and a chloroform-soaked pole. He showed the thing off at the Oneida County Fair and at his own home, where he'd rigged it to move using wires just to scare people for fun. Yeah, the whole thing was a hoax. Shepard was kind of known as the town prankster, and the fun ended when scientists from the Smithsonian said they were coming to investigate. At that point, Shepard finally admitted he'd made the whole thing up. But by then, the Hodag had already become a local legend. I just had to include this one. It was just too fun a story. So this farmer in India walked out onto his property to see this massive snake that had just finished swallowing one of his cows. Look at the giant bulge right in the middle of the snake's body. Instead of running away, the farmer actually grabbed a rope and lassoed the snake, just threw it right over the middle of his body like he was wrangling a steer. I don't know what kind of nerves that guy has, but if I were in his boots, I'd have quit farming on the spot. I would be halfway across the country before even thinking about coming back. The clip's been shared around a lot online, and people are still debating what kind of snake this was. Some say it might have been a green anaconda, which do get very big. Others think it was something even bigger though, maybe something not officially documented. Certainly looks like it to me, but thankfully I do not live in a country where there are massive poisonous snakes stalking the forests, so not too familiar. A pair of what look like long, spindly legs glide across a California lawn with no torso, A pale, human-shaped creature crawls through a Kentucky backyard in the dead of night, and a massive, fur-covered figure gets caught on camera in the Colorado wilderness. These are real mythical creatures caught on camera. So this guy caught something really spooky on camera while motorbiking. TikToker Moat Owens was riding through a forest trail as the sun was setting. He was pretty deep into the trail, which he said seemed to go on forever. And he comes to a fork in the path. Then he notices something strange. It's eerily quiet.
Holy crap, dude, this trail going on forever.
He sits there for a few moments, trying to decide which path to take, before he spots something poking out of the brush. Take a look at this. As soon as he sees the thing, he rightly zips back in the direction he came from, but not before struggling to get his bike started like he's stuck in a monster movie or one of those awful nightmares where you're being chased only to find that you've lost the ability to run. Pretty awful. A man named Jose in Fresno, California had a security camera outside his home, mainly to keep an eye on people messing with his front lawn. Well, one night his dog started barking like crazy, so he went to check the camera footage, and what he saw completely threw him. It was a thin, pale white figure with long legs gliding across the lawn. It had no arms, no real body, it was just the two long, tube-like legs and something small connecting them at the top. It didn't move like a person or an animal, mainly because it didn't look like a person or an animal. Jose was freaked out and immediately woke up his brother. According to Jose, his brother went outside and found weird little footprints in the dirt. But when investigators finally got there, it had rained and whatever physical evidence was there was now gone. This was the first ever footage of what's been referred to as the Fresno Nightcrawler, or crawlers, because some folks have seen multiple of them at once. In July of 2022, a home security camera in Moorhead, Kentucky picked up something really weird. Something that looked like a pale, almost human-shaped figure moving through someone's backyard late at night. The creature was thin, with long arms and legs, and no visible clothes or fur. It didn't run or walk like a person, it just kind of crept through the yard in this slow, eerie motion. The homeowner released the clip online, and it was shared around everywhere, even news sites. A lot of people said it looked like some kind of rake. Others say this one has a bit of an alien vibe to it. The video was picked up by local news, including the Tribune, which simply labeled it as a bizarre backyard sighting. Nobody came forward with any clear explanation, and wildlife officials didn't release any statements about what it could have been. Internet theories went all over the place with this one, from a deformed deer walking upright, which is a bit of a stretch, to a sick person wandering around naked. That's much more plausible. Or maybe something straight out of The Descent. In October of 2023, two passengers were riding the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, a scenic train that runs through the Colorado wilderness, when one of them spotted something strange walking along a hillside. They pulled out their phone and started recording. What they caught was this figure walking upright across the slope. It wasn't a person in hiking gear. It was tall, bulky, covered in what looked like brown fur, turning at one point to look back toward the train. Some commenters pointed out that the remote location made this very unlikely that anyone would be out there pulling a prank. Others just said, well, it kind of just does look like a costume. But the video made national news and reopened the Bigfoot debate once again. A lot of folks also pointed out how well this thing moved on such steep terrain. For believers, this is one of the better modern Bigfoot sightings. Clear daylight, open view, but like always, what do you all think? In 2019, near Sioux Lookout in Ontario, Canada, Gino Mikas, an experienced hunter, was with his wife and grandson grouse hunting when they heard this eerie howl coming from deep in the trees. Take a listen to this. Now, thinking it might be a moose, Mikas started recording with his phone, but as the howls continued, and they do go on throughout the entire clip, it growing louder and more aggressive, it was very clear that this wasn't anything he'd heard before. Now, keep this in mind, guys. He's been hunting all his life, and he said the sound didn't match anything native to the area. Could this be a legit recording of Bigfoot? Two friends were hiking in British Columbia when they captured something they couldn't quite explain. They spotted this figure walking upright across a snowy ridge. It's distant, but the people behind the camera say they had a much clearer view in person, and what they saw didn't make any sense. See, the terrain was tough, Deep snow, steep drop-offs, no obvious trail, but the figure was moving so smoothly and quickly, without snowshoes, without a backpack, and seemingly wearing all one color. Now, anyone who has ever tried to walk through that kind of snow knows that it's nearly impossible without gear. They said the thing was bipedal, fast, and didn't look like a bear. They admitted the most logical explanation might be it was just some lone, seriously hardcore hiker, but what if that wasn't the case? The closest route down the mountain was a 300-meter sheer drop, and they didn't have climbing gear to follow it. So whether it was a Sasquatch, a fearless snow hiker, or something else, it left them unsettled enough to post online, and a number of people have commented about how much distance this thing manages to cover on such harsh terrain in such a short span of time. Known locally as the Lagerflot worm, this creature is Iceland's answer to the Loch Ness Monster. Said to live in the icy depths of Lake Lagerflot, the beast is described as massive, up to 40 feet long, and not sleek like your typical idea of a sea serpent. Instead, it's said to have a series of large, visible humps. Reports of the creature go all the way back to 1345, and sightings have trickled in over the centuries. In 1963, the head of Iceland's National Forest Service claimed that he saw it with his own eyes. In 1998, a teacher and a group of students said they saw it as well. The most interesting incident might have happened in 1983 when a group of workers were laying a telephone cable near the eastern shore of the lake, and during their depth measurements, they detected this massive moving object deep beneath the surface. When they later retrieved the cable, it was snapped, and right at the spot where it had rested on whatever that thing was. Then in 2012, the story blew up again when a 67-year-old farmer recorded this video of something snake-like twisting and swimming in a river which flows directly into the lake. Next up is this clip here, the Harley Hoffman Bigfoot footage. I remember seeing this clip years ago. It was edited into an interview with Hoffman himself, who's a well-known Bigfoot enthusiast. Now, for a while I couldn't find the footage again, but recently it did pop back up. This is actual footage he claims to have shot, and honestly, it is pretty solid. You get a decent look at the creature. It doesn't come across like some dude stumbling around in a Party City gorilla suit. There's what looks like actual muscle definition under the fur, kind of like what you see in the famous Patterson-Gimlin footage. Now, yeah, the camera is a little shaky, but I mean, come on, if you suddenly ran into this thing in the woods, are you really gonna whip out this perfect, smooth, Kubrick-style tracking shot? I doubt it. The shakiness actually makes it feel more real, like something someone would capture in the middle of a, legit what the hell am I looking at moment. Now let's talk about the 1992 Grassman sighting. Grassman is the name Ohio locals have given to this big ape-like creature that's supposedly been spotted all over the state. This particular video was taken in eastern Ohio by a guy named Don Keating. He managed to capture what looked like a large hairy figure walking into the forest. The footage is of course super grainy, and he's pretty far away, so no, it's not crystal clear or anything, but there is definitely something moving through the trees. It's not the strongest video evidence out there. It's hard to tell exactly what you're looking at, but this video was passed around a lot back then, and there was a ton of debate surrounding it. That always makes things interesting. Plus, I just have a fondness for old VHS footage like this. It's just got this creepy, it adds something to it, I don't know. Now, what's interesting is that Keating said he was a skeptic before shooting this, but after the encounter, he changed his tune. And finally, we've got the Salt Fork Creature, another supposed clip of the Ohio Grassman. This video was uploaded to the YouTube channel We Do It Outdoors, and even though it's only about 10 minutes long, it is packed with material. So two guys were exploring Salt Fork State Park, also in eastern Ohio, when they started hearing weird noises, and that's when they caught footage of something big and hairy moving around in the trees. They follow this thing for a while and get some pretty cool footage, more than you usually get with videos like this. Now, if this is a costume, it's a pretty good one. The creature looks bulky. It's not like one of those flimsy, off-the-shelf gorilla suits, and what really makes this one stand out is that the footage is clear. There's no camera shaking, or very little. There's no ridiculous filter to make it harder to see what's going on. You even hear some strange vocalizations in the background, which just adds to the whole thing. Whether it's real or not, this one is definitely worth a watch. From a 50-foot snake lunging at a helicopter in the Congo to a creepy creature caught on camera deep in rural Texas, and someone or something filmed crawling underneath a bridge like a real-life version of Spider-Man, these are unknown creatures caught on camera that no one can explain. What you're looking at here may not look like much at first glance. It's a snake. I mean, big deal, right? Well, the thing is, this is an aerial photograph taken way up in a helicopter. That snake is said to have been 50 feet long. Back in 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerde, an experienced Belgian World War II fighter pilot, was flying a helicopter over the Congo. As he's flying over the jungle in the Katanga region, he spots something moving down below. He claimed it was a massive snake, and it would have had to be for it to catch his eye way up in a chopper.
Then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot.
The snake had green and brown scales, and a head that was apparently 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. You could fit a grown man in its mouth. And as he flew in closer, the snake rose up off the ground about 10 feet into the air like it was trying to strike at the chopper. Van Leerde circled around a few times so someone else on board could snap a photo of it. Of course, skeptics have their doubts, but he stuck to his story up until his death in 1990. But what do you think he saw out there in the jungle? A new species, a leftover from the dinosaur age, or was the whole story a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. This next story takes us deep into the heart of Texas, a little rural spot called Dabina out in Fayette County. Michael Demmel captured something really strange on a hunting camera on his property. He has a bunch of these cameras set up, using them to track wildlife like coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons. These motion sensor cameras take about 100 pictures a day, and Michael goes through them every single day. He's been doing this for 10 years, so when he says something looks off, that's really saying something. Well, one night he captured whatever this thing was. He said he thought it was a monkey at first, and to be fair, in the blurry photo it kinda does look like one. Of course, that would still be very, very strange. There are no monkeys just running around in Texas unless one escaped from a zoo, and no, there were no monkey jailbreaks reported. So he shows the image to some friends, tries to get some answers, and the photo eventually hits the local news. Some say the thing looks a lot like a chupacabra, the legendary cryptid that's been blamed for livestock deaths for decades. Others think it has a bit of an alien or skinwalker kind of vibe. Now, the creature's about as big as a medium-sized dog, but the body shape, the face, totally off. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I have never encountered anything like it." Even the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department got involved. They looked at the photo but ruled out any normal animal, saying it didn't look like a baby deer or anything they could easily identify. I always liked to imagine Spider-Man was real when I was a kid. Kinda always hoped I'd see him swinging around up there one day. Well, I would have been thrilled to see this next video. This footage was captured at the pedestrian bridge in Kiev, not where you'd be expecting to spot the web slinger, but superheroes do get around. Now clearly this is a person crawling under the bridge, but even so, why? I mean, this is pretty dangerous. That water down below does not look very deep. Unless this person has actual web slinging abilities, if they fall, they're getting hurt or worse. So who is this person? Is it just a thrill seeker? Are they out of their mind? Or is there a chance that this isn't even a person at all and that the camera person caught something otherworldly crawling under that bridge? This piece of footage was uploaded to Reddit by user KeyProposal8529. Some sort of strange creature was peering out at them from the woods. They wrote, "Hello all, I live near the Trail of Tears in Missouri. As I got home one night I saw this thing in the woods by my house. From where it was standing, it has to be tall because there's a ditch right below where it stands. Any ideas? I'm terrified. Yes, I stayed in my car until I got the balls to run inside my house." Now, I have no idea what this thing could be. It's hard to make out, but if the Redditor is telling the truth here, then this is a pretty creepy piece of footage because they pass by this area constantly. I mean, it's right outside their home. They know when something is out of place. A Reddit user out in the Midwest has been spotting a strange creature in their neighborhood. First, they posted these images along with a caption reading, "These are photos taken in the Midwest from an iPhone at night. The cryptid in question randomly appears in the same spot. Once a person begins to approach, it will vanish. It was seen again a few weeks ago and moved at an incredible speed across a few backyards. A local dog will bark at the spot that it appears in, even when it's not there. Trail cams will be set up soon. Please give me some ideas as to what it could be." The Redditor also posted an update with a video attached. This time, we can supposedly hear whatever this strange creature is. They wrote in the description, "We've got a video of the cryptid making what sounds like a scream. My friend was trying to find where it was standing but couldn't see it. Once the video ended, it appeared again in his yard but vanished as he went to get his phone again." This video was uploaded to YouTube by Paranormal Planet, who'd been exploring an ice cave in Hallstatt, Austria. Most of the video is pretty standard touristy type footage of the cave until we get to the end and see whatever this is. That is a pretty freaky looking creature. Now, my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe it's a frog or something, but according to the uploader, this thing was the size of a large man, and they were also standing far enough away that they wouldn't have picked it up in this kind of detail if it was something as small as a frog. So if that's to be believed, then this is a pretty strange piece of footage, and honestly, the more I do look at it, the less frog-like this thing really looks. I mean, frogs don't really articulate like this, and they don't usually chill in ice caves either. And the way it bends its limbs almost looks like how a human would climb, except it's way too long and spindly to be a person. So I don't know what this is. Let me know your thoughts down below. This next video was posted to Facebook by a man named Clay Shiner. He was filming the woods one evening because he spotted something moving just behind the tree line. Turns out it was not a bear. The thing that really struck me about this video is how long this thing's arms are. At first it just looks like, you know, a typical formless black shape hiding in the trees like so many Sasquatch videos you see. But when it steps forward a bit and stretches its arms out to the sides, it's like, damn, those are long, very ape-like, and very creepy. Reddit user Adjacent Gunman posted this image with the caption, "Over a year ago, this picture was taken by a trail cam back on my property. This version has been lightened. It's something holding a dead coyote by the throat, and it stands about 7.5 to 8 feet tall." He also posted an unedited version of the image. He said he based the thing's height off of where its eyes are compared to his cabin. Now, this thing is hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. Could it be a bear standing on its hind legs? Possibly, but the way it's holding its prey, it looks almost humanoid. But I don't know, maybe that's just my wishful thinking. I wholeheartedly want Bigfoot to be real. Uploaded to the YouTube channel Hola Bible in 2011, this video really creeped a lot of people out. The uploader said he'd been hearing some strange sounds coming from the forest behind his home in Oregon. Keep in mind, he lived 6 miles from the nearest city. He went out to investigate with a night vision camera. Well, he didn't get very far before he came across the source of these strange noises. Crouching in some brush was some sort of odd-looking, hairless creature. He zooms into the thing a bit, trying to make out what the hell it is, and then this happens. So it looks like Gollum was lurking around this guy's woods, or an alien, or a rake. It looks like a lot of things, all of them creepy, none of which you'd want skulking around in your backyard. I just hope this dude moved. And finally, I have another piece of Bigfoot footage for you. This video comes out of Russia, and in it, we see some folks filming some woods near their property. They'd spotted something sprinting through the trees, and what they see is pretty shocking. What's really cool about this video is how the thing moves. How many supposed Bigfoot videos do you see where it's just this figure like lumbering through the trees, like a dude in a costume, unsure of their footing? You kind of see them trying to keep their balance. Well, that is not the case here. This thing is sprinting at high speed and leaping across the ground as if it's an animal that is very familiar with its environment. That's why this has become such a well-known clip in the Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of, but my interest is still very much there. From a thermal camera video of some sort of strange creature, or Is it a UFO? To a legendary lake monster caught on tape, and even a possible killer cryptid spotted after a brutal dog attack. These are more unknown creatures caught on camera no one can explain. What you're looking at here is well, I don't really know what the hell this thing is, and neither does the uploader. Redditor J Turley 85 uploaded the footage, writing, "My wife's coworker went out hunting this past weekend. They apparently took a pack of dogs out with them. While in the mountains, 2 of the dogs ran off. They chased them and found them both ripped apart after some searching. While trying to look for whatever caused it, they found this and recorded it through their scope. I tried to upscale the video for clarity, but this was the best I could get. Anyone know what this could be? The arms look like they have hair coming off it, and they look extremely long and skinny. At first I thought it could be another hunter, but I can't be sure. And yeah, I don't know, it could maybe be a hunter with a sheet over their head for like camouflage or something, but along with the story about all the dogs having been ripped apart, definitely makes whatever this thing is a lot stranger, and I don't like how it moves. What you're looking at here is said to be footage of a creature known as the Lake Van monster, something that's been spotted in this lake in eastern Turkey. The first sighting goes way back to 1889, but it really grabbed headlines between 1995 and 1997 when more and more people started reporting on it. Over 1,000 people claim they've seen it. In 1997, a university assistant named Unal Kozak even filmed what he claimed was the creature, and the footage still stirs up arguments to this day. Some folks swear they see a beak in the footage, others think he just grabbed a clip of a swimming elephant. So if anyone can find a longer clip of a swimming elephant that matches up with this video, something that would have been available in 1997, please share in the comments. Maybe we can solve this together. Until then though, this one is gonna remain a mystery. Alright, this next video is really interesting because people can't really seem to decide if they think it's a creature or some type of unidentified flying object. The clip was posted to YouTube by Montana Mullet Militia, who wrote in the description, "Was out coyote hunting last night and caught this on film. It was super bizarre, 37 degrees outside, white hot mode." So this was captured on a thermal camera. Those little white specks are believed to be coyotes, with their bright colors showing that they're warm compared to their environment. The darker figure or object, first appearing to kind of run, then later seeing to fly, shows up colder than everything else around it, which is why it looks dark in the footage. As for what the hell this thing is, well, your guess is as good as mine. This photo was taken back in 1934 by a Swiss photographer named Balkan. He claimed he saw something strange near a log, some kind of creature that didn't look like anything he'd seen before, so he took a photo of it, and the picture kicked up quite a bit of interest. It even inspired a German magazine to sponsor a full-blown expedition to track down the creature. But like a lot of cryptid hunts, the trip was a bust, and people kinda moved on. But there have still been some strange sightings since. What exactly is this thing? Well, it's known as the Tatzelworm, a legendary beast from alpine folklore. It's said to have been haunting the mountains of Europe for centuries. Descriptions vary, but most say it looks like a chunky, cat-faced reptile, but with no back legs. Sometimes doesn't even have any at all, a bit more snake-like. Sightings have been reported all over the Alps, from Switzerland and Austria to parts of Germany and northern Italy. And it goes by a bunch of different names depending on where you are. Names which I'm gonna pronounce perfectly: Stollenworm, Springworm, and Pratzelworm, just to name a few. Even in modern times, people still claim to see it. So was the Tatzelworm just a tall tale, or did this photographer really capture something strange slithering through the Alps? Alright, this next one, nope, absolutely not. Someone's home security camera picked up what can only be described as pure nightmare fuel. There's this pale, creepy looking creature crouched in the bushes outside their house, just staring off into the distance, looking around. Glowing eyes, long limbs, totally bald. And when it stands up, it's tall, uncomfortably tall. People in the comments have been saying it looks like a Slender Man or a rake. There's also something else going on here. Some viewers pointed out it almost looks like it's wearing a black cloak or something. A cloaked, glowing-eyed rake demon thing. Again, that's a yikes for me. The face is the worst part. It's just blank. There's no mouth, no nose, nothing but those eerie glowing eyes. If I saw this outside my house, I would be gone. Keep the house. Take the furniture, I don't care. What do you think this thing was though? An alien, a demon, a hoax? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. This video was taken by a fishing guide in Saskatchewan who spotted this massive wolf near his lodge. And I mean prehistorically massive. As if you need me to tell you that. Just look at it. The man spotted it from his window and decided to grab his camera. He stepped outside to get a better shot and the wolf backed off. But then it came back, and that's when his dog Trigger decided to chase after the thing. Waited for Trigger to turn her back, and in a blink grabbed her by the hindquarters and tossed her in the air like a rag doll. That happens off camera because the guy rightly stopped filming and, went to save his dog. Luckily, the guy's buddy came out running with a shotgun, firing it into the air to break up the fight, and the wolf ran off. But not for long. It was bold enough to come back a couple more times. Luckily, there's no more trouble and the dog was okay aside from a few cuts. But things would have gone way worse if they hadn't scared the thing off in time. So this next clip comes from a Reddit user with the unforgettable name Panty Dinner 2003. The clip was captured in Louisiana. It starts off pretty normal. A couple guys are filming a field, catching some deer in the shot, along with a few dark shapes that look like dogs. So far, all good, but there's something that steps out of the trees, and it is not normal. This thing comes charging out of the woods, and it kind of looks like it's galloping, but it's definitely not a horse, and it sure isn't human either. It's got these long, creepy arms and seems to be running on all fours, but not in the way your typical four-legged animals do. This thing is off. Now, at first, I wasn't totally buying the laughter behind the camera, gotta be honest. I thought, right, maybe this is staged, but I don't know. It could also be that nervous laughter, the kind people do when they're freaked out and just don't know how to process what they're seeing. What do you think? Weird animal? Skinwalker? Let me know which theory you're going with down in the comments. This next video comes out of Mexico. Two men came out to their back porch to find an owl acting very strangely. So strangely, in fact, they started to wonder if it was a shape-shifting witch or a bruja. A bruja is usually seen as a woman who uses magic, sometimes for good, sometimes for darker stuff. Some are said to cast curses and shapeshift. They show up a lot in ghost stories and creepy legends, especially in rural areas in Mexico. In some tales, a bruja might appear as an old woman, a mysterious animal, or a shadowy figure flying through the night. Now, the guys filming were kind of jokingly talking to this owl, asking if it was a bruja, but man, if the sun was down and you were alone and you saw this, I don't think you'd be asking that question in jest. I just do not like how this owl is moving, the way it starts stretching out its neck like that. Just no. Is it a scared or injured owl, or could there be something else going on here? This video was uploaded to TikTok by Jay Hayson, who simply wrote that these girls broke into his backyard and were watching him. Seems to me they were doing a lot more than just watching. One tells him to come out here, let's have fun. The other just cranes her net back, makes all these very unsettling faces, mostly just by opening her mouth all wide. And yeah, it seems like a great idea to go out there. Now, if this video is genuine, for one, it's very creepy. Those ladies were clearly not of sound mind at the time. And two, this was a very, very bad idea on the girls' part. Don't break into people's backyards and stare at them. At best, you've scared a stranger in their own home. Worst case scenario, you get shot at and you die, especially if you're in America. Doesn't matter if this one's a guy in a costume or some kind of prank. This is the kind of thing that would make me pack up my whole life and move to a different country. The video was posted to TikTok by Fast Bites Horror, and according to the description, a traveler had stumbled across this freaky creature hiding in the shadows, perched up on a ledge, just glaring down at him. And the poor guy is so scared, he starts praying out loud. You can hear the fear in his voice. And while I may not be religious myself, if I saw this thing, I definitely would be. I'd be like, well, I guess Satan really does exist. From real living dinosaurs caught on camera to a 445-million-year-old creature still roaming the earth today, these are prehistoric creatures caught on camera that you'd think would be extinct. This video supposedly shows a woolly mammoth crossing a river in Siberia. It quickly went viral, racking up 3 million views on YouTube and more. People couldn't help but wonder if the mammoth had been living for centuries in remote parts of Siberia, completely untouched by humans. Now, whether you think this video is a hoax or not, there have been some interesting reports of supposed living mammoths. They're believed to have gone extinct over 10,000 years ago, but there are still stories floating around about them being spotted in some of the world's most remote places, especially in the northern hemisphere's tundra. Native American tribes have been telling tales about these creatures for years. The Northeast Algonquins talked about a great moose with a weird extra limb growing between its shoulders that it used to prepare its bed. The Naskapi people from northeastern Labrador spoke of a monster with a long nose that it would use to hit people. Even Siberian tribesmen have reported seeing large, shaggy beasts roaming around, though no one's actually caught solid proof. There have been mammoth sightings across Asia, South America, North America, and Russia. What you're looking at here is a massive sized sturgeon. The footage originally posted by Ronald Drago was shared and reposted all over the internet, and it's easy to see why. The creature is just a monster. The sturgeon is an ancient creature that's been around since the early Jurassic period. Some of these fish can grow over 20 feet long, which is as big as a great white shark. They mostly feed on small animals from the ocean floor and are harmless to humans, but because of their size, they can still pose a threat. There have been reports of sturgeons leaping out of the water, landing on boats, and causing serious injuries or even death. They can weigh over 1,000 pounds. This footage here was posted to YouTube by Adam Pitts, who'd hauled in this Jurassic era sized beast in Florida. A bunch of hunters had been trying to snag this thing because it was responsible for some deaths. No surprise there. This gator was not missing out on any meals. Pitts and his team had a long battle with the gator before finally hauling it out of the lake. It was about 12'8". It's sad, but unfortunately some animal populations just need to be controlled sometimes, especially when it comes to people's safety. This wasn't just a hunt for the thrill of it was for the protection of the community. This is not an AI video. This is a real piece of footage taken back in 2018 at a golf course in South Carolina. This gator was caught strolling through the golf course on its way to somewhere. It's become a pretty famous video. The event was taken by multiple people from different angles. Video of it showed up on the news, and it's understandable. It looks like footage of a living dinosaur. Even the family of deer in the background just couldn't help stand there in total shock. Like, what are we looking at right now? They're standing there like a deer in headlights. Alright, I guess deer aren't really all that hard to surprise. But still, gators are some of the oldest animals on the planet. I still find it so cool that you really are looking at a living dinosaur when you see one. This footage here was captured by members of a Japanese expedition crew in the Congo. They were seeking out evidence of an elusive animal known to the locals as Mokele Membe, a plesiosaur-like creature believed by some cryptozoologists to be a remnant of the Cretaceous period. Mokele Membe comes from Bantu mythology. It's said to live in the Congo River Basin. It's described in different ways. Some say it's a reptilian creature, others think of it as a spirit, but the most popular description is an ancient dinosaur-like sauropod. In the early 1900s, cryptozoologists got really interested in this legend, with some launching expeditions to find proof of the creature's existence. Most experts believe that the stories about Mokele Membe are probably based on sightings of the black rhinoceros, which used to roam the region. Some even think the myth may have been influenced from earlier tales about Great Zimbabwe. This next creature is called Tuatara. Just look at this silly, stubby-legged little lizard. Cute as can be, according to me. I know some people are freaked out by reptiles and lizards, but I really enjoy them. So these things can be found roaming around in New Zealand. They look like a lot of reptiles you've probably seen, very similar to iguanas, but these things have quite the history. They've been around for an estimated 225 million years. So once again, they're basically living dinosaurs, just very small ones. Pretty cool. What's also interesting about these things is that they don't have ear holes like modern day reptiles, so their hearing is, of course, limited, but they can still respond to low frequencies. Next up, we have the Chinese giant salamander, and when I say giant, I do mean giant. These are the largest amphibians in the world. Some of them can reach up to 6 feet in length, weighing in at about 110 pounds. That sounds like a salamander that would have been roaming the earth during the time of the dinosaurs, and they did. The Chinese giant salamander has been around since the Jurassic period, about 170 million years ago. These creatures are also known for their very unique and haunting sounds. They've been described as rather unsettling. Some people describe them as barks or hissing, but the creepiest noise is the high-pitched crying, almost like a very young human. Given how huge these things are and the fact that they clearly do not look human, that would be pretty freaky hearing a sound like that come out of an animal like this. But honestly, I still think these creatures are kind of cute in their own weird way. And we have another dinosaur, the Komodo dragon. These things are insane. They're huge, some of the biggest lizards on the planet, weighing more than a full-grown human in some cases, and these things are as dangerous as they look. They've been known to attack and even kill humans, and to top it off, their bite is venomous. Scientists have found Komodo dragon fossils that are about 4 million years old. These giant lizards are found in Indonesia today, specifically 5 islands, one of which is called Komodo Island, which, no surprise, has the largest population of Komodo dragons in the country. You can't just wander onto this island, not that you'd ever want to. It's very strictly a guided tour situation. If you ever visit, trust me, don't want to go alone. If you stray too far, it could be the last mistake you make. Komodo dragons are no joke. Along with crocodiles and alligators, they're one of the closest things we've got to real-life dinosaurs. These reptiles can reach lengths of 10 feet with razor-sharp teeth and venomous saliva. They eat whatever they can catch: monkeys, deer, boars, goats, and sometimes humans. They're just pure predators. Now, they don't attack humans all the time, but between 1974 and 2012, there were 24 reported attacks in Komodo National Park. The shoebill stork. These birds have been around for 30 million years at the least. If you were to look at every living bird today and you had to just pick one that looked like it had been around since the prehistoric times, it would have to be the shoebill stork, right? This is definitely the one I'd be picking. Look at the size of the beak on these things, very dinosaur-esque. Shoebills are found in the swamps and wetlands of Africa. They're massive birds, standing about 4 to 5 feet tall with a wingspan of 7 to 8 feet. They have this unmistakable shaped bill, which can reach lengths of up to 9.5 inches just on its own. This massive bill is a formidable weapon for catching prey, which is mostly fish. They're known to be very patient hunters, standing motionless for hours before striking at lightning speed. And these birds really are just as intimidating as they look. Highly skilled hunters that are capable of preying on animals as large as young crocodiles. And to top it off, they make this eerie clicking sound with their beak. They sound almost like an automatic firearm or the predator. What you are looking at here is a horseshoe crab. Now, crabs may not be all that exciting to you, but these ones are different. Horseshoe crabs are one of the oldest creatures on the planet. They've been a staple of the Earth for around 445 million years. That is a lot of years. That's back before the land split off to form the continents that we have now. Earth still consisted of one single supercontinent when these things were around. These ancient arthropods have seen old friends go and new ones come along, and when I say friends, I mean entire species evolve and then go extinct. They've seen a lot. And interestingly, even though they have crab in their name, they're not actually crabs. They're more closely related to arachnids.
I couldn't believe my eyes. And that is not even the craziest thing that I saw this morning. Where are these things coming from? This one doesn't look like he's playing.
From brown bears charging at vans to a Floridian hand-wrangling an anaconda, if these terrifying creature encounters hadn't been filmed, no one would believe them. Up first is a toy boat. Imagine going out for a nice paddle only to be toyed with by the greatest apex predator in the ocean. People used to be afraid of the ocean. They used to make big strong boats to sail along the coast. Now people take flimsy foam boards and light carbon fiber paddles out into the sea. And this is what you get: being followed, watched, and pushed around by a massively intelligent and dangerous orca. To be fair, no human orca fatalities have ever been recorded in the wild. Not to say that they've never happened, but no one has ever heard of it happening. Captivity is a different story, of course, but those whales are stuck into tiny pens and essentially driven insane by boredom and movement restrictions. Orcas in the wild will travel hundreds of kilometers a day in search of prey, or sometimes just for fun. They also have a complex mode of communication, with significant degrees of difference between different populations, which scientists have categorized as both including languages and dialects, with some pods speaking differently but being able to understand one another, and other pods having no interactions at all. This whale likely went off to its pod to eagerly talk about this strange human it saw standing on the ocean. Next are ceiling snakes. I think a massive 20-foot python living in my ceiling has just become the worst nightmare fuel of my life. These tenants had been hearing slithering, scraping sounds above them for a little while, but didn't truly understand the significance of what they heard. They figured maybe a snake had gotten stuck or was hiding. Not a huge deal, just call in the professionals to wrangle it out and all will be well. But the professionals are obviously not prepared for this behemoth either, or at least I hope they weren't. Otherwise, that means their plan really was to just tug this massive snake by its tail until the whole ceiling collapsed. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they didn't know how massive this snake was, and they didn't intend on destroying these people's entire ceiling. With that in mind, this is just an insane video, and a story no one would believe if they hadn't caught it on camera. Could you imagine telling your friend, yeah, a 20-foot python fell through my ceiling yesterday, how are you doing? Would they believe you? Next is a van charge. Brown bears are some of the most intimidating and dangerous land animals on the planet. Sure, polar bears are bigger and way more predatory and likely to actively hunt you, but it's a simple fact of numbers. Far fewer people live near polar bears than brown bears. This footage is an incredible example for why brown bears can be so dangerous. This is a mother bear, her cubs are nearby the road, and a mother brown bear is easily in the top 3 most dangerous animals on the planet. If you're on foot with bear bells and bear spray close at hand that's used early and at a distance, the mother bear is almost certainly going to just avoid you. They aren't actively searching for trouble. They're just willing to put any trouble down with extreme prejudice, including, it seems, a moving van. It's terrifying to watch this footage, see this bear slam into the van with enough force to break the glass and dent the metal, and know just what that monster could do to a person. Brown bears are beautiful creatures, but they are also deserving of some serious respect. Next is shark yellow. This incident seems at first glance like a rogue shark gone mad, blindly attacking plastic boats, engulfed in rage and fury, but that's not really what's happened here. Shark encounters and conflicts always have a reason. Sharks are predatory animals with some clear triggers and boundaries. It's possible that this fisherman has fish in his hold, the scent of which is potentially leaching out into the water. Or maybe there's the scent of a bait drawing the shark in. But there's another possible explanation that's a little less straightforward. This aggression may be due in part to the kayak being painted yellow. It's been hypothesized for over a century now that sharks may in fact be drawn to the color yellow. It's thought that since sharks are essentially colorblind, yellow comes across as a much brighter and more noticeable color than red or blue tones. During the USS Indianapolis tragedy, the largest shark feast in recorded history, it was claimed by survivors that those in yellow life jackets or life rafts were among the first to be targeted by sharks, though it may also be that those in life rafts and vests were already the most injured and therefore likely to be targeted. The question remains, did a yellow kayak drive this tiger shark into a frenzy? Next is a big yoink. If you told me you had grabbed a 15-foot anaconda by the neck, I would say I needed video proof. If you then showed me this footage, I would call you outright insane. However, it's pretty clear that this person, despite being crazy enough to grab an anaconda by the throat, is also very experienced and knowledgeable. They clearly know what they're doing. Most importantly, perhaps, is that he strikes from underneath. Snakes have evolved to slither along the ground, and so they haven't had much use for eyes that can see beneath them. This means that when they're raised, there's a blind spot that can be taken advantage of. That being said, do not think just because you've watched a couple of videos online that you could do this without getting severely hurt. Just because anacondas aren't venomous does not mean they don't have hundreds of razor-sharp teeth and that they cannot seriously and royally mess you up. Leave the anaconda yoinking to the crazy Floridians and Australians who grew up doing such nuts activities. Next is a sedan versus supercars. This footage shows a hilariously mismatched unmatched chase. We see a herd of horses thundering through this copse of trees, majestic and resplendent in their elegance. Even the foal is keeping good pace with the herd, and the adults do not look like they're straining that much at all. What could this herd of animal supercars be running from though? Well, a chasing brown bear, which is hilariously under-equipped to catch these horses. I mean, it's not for lack of trying, this bear is booking it, but the horses are hoofing it and that's just faster. That's not to say that brown bears are slow either, they absolutely are not. A brown bear can reach 50 kilometers an hour in a sprint, but horses can reach over 70, and horses can run for a lot longer. So suffice to say, I have no idea what this bear was thinking. Maybe it's a CrossFitter and just decided it had to work extra hard for its meal. This also doesn't seem like the bear is being protective of its young either, as it seems to just be outright chasing the horses. I hope this bear didn't get laughed at too hard by the other bears for this, as everyone's gotta learn their limits some way, someday. Last is the bluff charge. Being charged by an elephant is enough to break the nerve of even the most self-assured wilderness adventurers. But here's the thing. Elephants, unless provoked, don't really want to mess with you. However, like a lot of animals, if they see weakness, they will strike to eliminate a perceived threat, which is why this guide's actions are so exceptional. He remains calm and does not give a single inch of ground to the charge. Even more importantly, he actually steps into it. Not enough to threaten the elephant, but enough to say, "I'm not scared of you." When the elephant bluff charges a second time, he waves his arms and a stick to seem larger and more threatening, and takes another few steps forwards. But most importantly of all, once the show of dominance between the guide and the elephant is done, the guide immediately begins instructing the clients to move away. The confrontation is done. No need to keep antagonizing the elephant by sticking around in its territory. This is an absolutely incredible encounter, and was likely also made easier by there being a group. This is an absolutely incredible encounter, and was likely also made easier by the group of people to the guide's back, giving the bull elephant a little more to consider before it decided to strike. Those were terrifying creatures that, if not filmed, would have never been believed.
A shrimp with a punch so powerful it could break glass and cause shock waves in the water. A shark so aggressively hungry it'll eat just about anything. And one of the most venomous creatures in the entire world. These are some of the scariest deep-sea predators caught on camera. Look at this diver being stalked by a tiger shark. The tiger shark is one of the most dangerous deep-sea predators out there. It's known for its aggressiveness and the fact that it'll eat pretty much anything it can catch, from fish to sea turtles to even garbage. They're often called the garbage cans of the sea because of how indiscriminate their eating habits are. Tiger sharks can grow up to 18 feet long, and their jaws are packed with serrated teeth, perfect for slicing through tough materials like turtle shells. They've been known to attack humans, but their bites are usually just curious nibbles. Even so, they're big, they're powerful. If one got it in its head that it wanted to try tearing you apart, it absolutely could. So it's not a good idea to mess with one. In terms of habitat, tiger sharks are found in tropical and subtropical waters, often in deeper spots where there's plenty of food around. Mantis shrimp are absolutely terrifying little creatures, even though they're not that big. These crustaceans have one of the fastest and most powerful strikes in the animal kingdom. Footage of their punches needs to be slowed down in order to truly appreciate. Their limbs are capable of moving at speeds of 50 miles per hour, faster than a bullet leaving a firearm. They can smash open shells, break glass, they can knock fish unconscious or just kill them in an instant. In some cases, their strikes are so powerful they can create shock waves in the water. And it sounds like I'm making this part up, but the punch from a mantis shrimp can even generate light, creating this flash so intense that it can stun smaller prey. So yeah, they don't look all that intimidating. They're small, and they're also shrimp, but these are incredibly dangerous hunters. They can take out much larger and stronger animals with their anime-level power blows. Lizardfish, as you can probably tell, are not the cutest looking animal. They're known for having a pretty nightmarish predatory appearance with sharp teeth and eerie lizard-like faces. These creatures are built for hunting in the deep, dark waters where there's barely any light and food can be tough to find. Lizardfish are experts at lurking on the ocean floor, blending in so well that unsuspecting fish don't usually see them coming. With their long, sharp teeth, they're great at grabbing and holding on to any prey that gets too close. They can grow up to around 3 feet long, and while sure they may not be the largest strongest predators, their aggressiveness and lightning-fast attacks makes them pretty threatening. They're also known for their viciousness, tearing into their prey with a speed that's hard to see in real time. Look at this huge hammerhead swing right up to a beach. Lucky no one was in the water when this guy showed up. Hammerhead sharks might look a little strange with their wide T-shaped heads, but make no mistake, they're incredibly efficient predators. That bizarre head shape they have gives them a full 360-degree view of their surroundings, and you probably don't need me to tell you that that's a big advantage. If you're anywhere near one of these things, they most likely see you. Hammerheads usually hunt in deeper waters, where they can use their enhanced vision to locate stingrays and other bottom-dwelling creatures. Their heads are also loaded with sensors that help them detect electric fields made by prey in the water, so they can detect and spot prey very efficiently. But we haven't even talked about their other assets yet: size, strength, and teeth. Some species like the great hammerhead can grow over 20 feet long, and their powerful jaws are capable of crushing bones and tearing through tough hide. Sperm whales are the giants of the deep ocean, and while they're not necessarily a threat to humans, they are one of the most dangerous predators to other deep-sea creatures. First of all, they're the largest toothed predators on Earth. They can grow up to 60 feet long. They mostly hunt squid, and that includes giant and colossal squid. Using echolocation, sperm whales can hunt prey in total darkness, deep beneath the waves. They can dive to depths of over 3,000 feet and stay submerged for over an hour, making them the ultimate deep-sea hunters. I mentioned that they hunt giant squid. Well, giant squid and sperm whales are pretty much arch enemies, constantly at war. They have fierce battles with squid, using their massive jaws and powerful teeth to tear them apart. But it's not like the giant squids don't fight back. They'll try to overwhelm the whales by wrapping their tentacles around them. I think the whales usually get the upper hand though. Humans rarely interact with sperm whales in the wild, but they're dangerous to anything they consider food. Their strength and intelligence makes them one of the most terrifying predators in the ocean, capable of overpowering almost anything in their path. Barracudas might not be as large as some of the other predators on this list, but they make up for it with lightning speed and sheer aggression. They're known for their fearsome, sharp teeth, and they're some of the fastest fish in the ocean, able to reach speeds of up to 36 miles per hour. Barracudas are solitary hunters, and they don't hesitate to attack when they see prey. They're often found in deeper waters, where their speed and stealth allows them to ambush fish and smaller marine creatures. Barracuda's sleek, streamlined body is built for these quick strikes, and when they attack, they're usually just this blur of motion. They've been known to target fish much larger than themselves too, and they can also pose a threat to humans, especially if they feel threatened or they get startled. The great white shark, I mean, they need no introduction. It's probably the most iconic and feared predator of the ocean. Growing up to 20 feet long and weighing over 5,000 pounds, these sharks are apex predators. Very few creatures mess with them. They're built for the hunt, using their crazy speed, strength, and those razor-sharp teeth to take down their prey. When they strike, it's with terrifying power. Their bite is one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, strong enough to crush bone and tear through flesh like it's nothing. While great whites are often called man-eaters, they usually bite humans out of curiosity, not because they're looking for a meal. But people who are lucky enough to survive an encounter are usually left with missing limbs. Their massive size, their incredible power, their hunting skills, it makes them one of the most dangerous creatures in the ocean. Killer whales, or orcas, are not only some of the smartest predators in the ocean, they're also some of the most dangerous. They live in tight-knit groups or pods and work together to hunt all kinds of big prey: sharks, seals, even other whales. One of the most impressive things they do is hunt great whites. Yes, I said great whites don't have many natural enemies. Killer whales are one of them. Orcas will attack them by flipping them over, which puts the shark into a state of paralysis. Then they'll just go for the liver. Orcas are also great at hunting in deeper water, using echolocation to find their prey and communicate with each other to pull off some very impressive coordinated attacks. There are many different species of box jellyfish, and some of them are among the most venomous creatures in the world. They're mostly found off the coast of Australia and Southeast Asia, and their sting is so powerful it can cause heart failure in humans. Their tentacles have toxins capable of paralyzing or even killing their prey, which includes fish, crustaceans, and small marine mammals. The venom is so powerful, it only takes a brief encounter with one to be lethal. And to make things even worse, Their bodies are nearly transparent, making them incredibly hard to spot in the water. If you're not careful, you may not be able to spot one before it's too late. The anglerfish is probably one of the most unsettling creatures you'll find in the deep sea. This fish is known for its horrifying appearance, with a very grotesque face, sharp teeth, and huge mouths that kind of look too big for their bodies, and that eerie bioluminescent lure that hangs in front of their heads like a fishing line. They use it to draw in prey from the pitch black depths of the ocean, tricking unsuspecting creatures into getting close enough for the anglerfish to grab them with its huge mouth. These fish can live in waters more than 2,000 feet deep, where food is hard to come by, so their hunting method is pretty genius. Instead of chasing down their meals or using strength to catch their prey, anglerfish just wait for food to come to them. Some anglerfish species are so adapted to their environment that they don't even see at all. Instead, they rely purely on their ability to sense movement and detect the faintest ripples in the water. When they do catch something, they do not hesitate to use their gnarly, needle-like teeth to trap their prey, making them one of the most terrifying hunters of the deep sea.
A couple shared this video on social media saying they spotted Bigfoot while riding the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad train. Over the years, there have been more than 100 reported Bigfoot sightings in Colorado.
An 8-foot-tall hairy monster spotted crouching on a mountain ledge. A woman chased out of the woods by an unknown creature in Ohio. A humanoid beast lurking by the side of the road. These are some of the creepiest Bigfoot sightings caught on camera. Did you catch that? Here it is zoomed in and slowed down. So this footage comes from a man named Todd Standing. He's pretty well known in the Bigfoot enthusiast community. He's filmed a few pretty famous alleged pieces of Sasquatch footage, including this one here, which according to him was his first close-up sighting with one of the creatures. After the creature left, Todd and some of his crew apparently made their way up the cliff to try and determine how big this thing really was, and to them it looked like the thing may have been well over 8 feet tall. This footage was famous enough to show up on an episode of Finding Bigfoot, where they tried to recreate the footage by having one of the bigger guys on the team stand on the same ledge so they could try and get a sense of the creature's size in the video, and what they found was that the thing in the video was noticeably taller and bulkier. But ultimately, they couldn't definitively say whether Todd Standing's video was genuine or a hoax. This next video comes from Dee's Dark Adventures on YouTube. Seems she had a run-in with someone or something lurking in the trees while on a hike one night in Ohio. It starts when she sees a pair of eyes glaring at her from the shadows. She gets rightfully spooked and decides to make her way out of the forest, but whatever was watching her follows her. She makes it into a clearing and spots the thing again staring at her from the tree line. See how high up the eyes go when it stands up? At this point, she's in full panic mode and screams for whatever it is to just stop, but then it comes out from the trees and she can't tell if what she's looking at is a human or an animal of some kind. Creepy video. I like how she sounds genuinely terrified and panicked. And because it's Ohio, gotta wonder if that is the Ohio Grassman. Kind of their version of Bigfoot. Watch our Ohio videos to learn more about that. This is a really cool video. I mean, that thing looks terrifying. So this footage was taken on a stationary camera. I don't think anyone's standing there filming this. At least that's what we're led to believe here. I guess the idea is this was taken on a game camera or something, but clearly we see this big hairy man beast crouching in the bush. And when it stands up, it starts slamming logs and branches around. I don't know about you, but this is how I actually picture Bigfoot looking. It has this almost human face, but of course covered in this mane of unkempt fur. It's a creepy video, and we get a look at the thing for a good long time too. And not that it would be impossible for a regular person to lift a dead tree like that and slam it into the ground, but if this is a hoax, the person in the suit is pretty strong. So this is an impressive hoax, if it is one. I don't know. This footage was taken in southern Ontario, Canada. by YouTuber Timber Giant Bigfoot. It's become a pretty well-known piece of video, sometimes referred to as the Big Red footage. This guy had his camera on the creature for a good stretch of time. This isn't just some blurry figure walking through the woods from like a mile away. Now, whatever the thing is, it looks big and hairy. Also doesn't really appear to be a bear. There really only are black bears in this part of the country, and this thing does not look like a black bear. Anyway, he has a bit of a hard time keeping his camera on the thing because he's zooming in from a fair distance. I wouldn't want to get too close either. He films for a good few minutes before the big creature gets up and walks off. What you're looking at here is footage taken by cryptozoologist Paul Freeman. Paul Freeman is still regarded as one of the most important investigators in the Bigfoot community. This video was captured in the Blue Mountains of Northeast Oregon in 1994, and it's often referred to as one of the best pieces of Sasquatch video evidence. Aside from this video, Paul Freeman was also well known for his plaster casts he made out of supposed Bigfoot tracks. The casts were studied quite a bit because they showed dermal ridges, and anthropologists like Jeff Meldrum of Idaho State University considered the casts highly credible pieces of possible evidence and put a lot of time and effort into studying them. As for this video, is it genuine, a hoax? It could go either way, but I like that we get a pretty good look at the creature here, enough to see a bit of a face rather than just a dark blur somewhere off in the distance. Well, we can't really call this thing Bigfoot, Littlefoot maybe, Sasquatch Jr. This footage was posted by a woman named Stephanie Wood to the Bigfoot Believers Facebook group. In her post, Stephanie shared this blurry image of what she claims could be a baby Sasquatch, or a squatchlet, a term sometimes used to describe smaller, more elusive Bigfoot-like creatures. Along with the original photo, she posted a cropped close-up of the figure, saying that while the first instinct might be to dismiss it as a person in a costume, after a closer inspection, she's just not sure. She wrote, "Could this be a baby Sasquatch, or one of those hairy little people that pop up in reports every now and then?" Now, what I'd like to ask is, sorry, who are these little hairy people that pop up in reports every now and again? My brain needs to learn more about this. Anyway, some commenters are convinced by the photo, with one person claiming that the deer in the foreground really makes it more believable, and I gotta say, I didn't think of this at first, but I think I agree. It's not easy to get that close to a deer. They'll usually just have run off long before you get a chance to get this distance from it, let alone pose for a photo like this, but maybe deer are more comfortable with young Sasquatches. So I remember this one really creeping me out when I first saw it over a decade ago. The story here is that this video was taken in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, where residents had apparently been reporting strange sightings and eerie noises at night, with some even spotting a creature resembling Bigfoot. But this creature was different. It was described as being white in color, more like a Yeti. One local homeowner managed to capture this video of the creature after hearing a disturbance in their backyard, which is surrounded by dense woods. Now, some people are kind of thrown by the cameraman's reaction here. He sees this furry white monster dashing through the trees at night, and his reaction is a pretty casual sounding, "What was that?" Well, some commenters disagree, saying the subdued reaction actually sounds pretty convincing. One commenter wrote, "As far as the reaction of the photographer, 'What was that?' it's not too hard to understand. When looking out in the darkness, things are not as easily recognizable. Also, he does not have the luxury of viewing the creature on YouTube in slow motion, and the mind barely has time to make a judgment of what it is." But what are your judgments on this one? Let us know down below. This video was taken in Algonquin Park, Ontario, Canada in 2010 with a bumper mounted GoPro. Zooming in and slowing things down, you can clearly see a large dark figure standing by the side of the road. Now, the video was taken by an unnamed man who sent it to the Ontario Wildlife Research Bigfoot group, who released it. One interesting point that a YouTuber named Snowwalker Prime made, who analyzed and reposted this footage, is that walking around in a gorilla suit in this neck of the woods really is ill-advised. You could easily get mistaken for a bear and get taken out by a hunter. So if this is a hoax, it's a kind of dangerous one. What I also like about this footage is that the original video was over an hour long. The guy filming apparently took lots of videos of his drives through the area. This was just one small piece edited down, and it just makes the footage a little more convincing. Plus, the figure does not look human. If that is a suit, it's a really good one. It's got those long arms, it's big, it's a good one. This video was taken in Alaska, posted to the YouTube channel Patua76, who wrote in the description, "I was on a logging road in Ketchikan hiking with my friend when I saw it. Boy, did my heart start racing. I was about 40 yards from the road, not sure if it knew I was there or not because of the noise flowing from water from the stream. It seemed to travel fast. It made my hair stand up. At one point you can see a whitish yellowish thing in its hand. You could see it jump, and after that point it just seems to disappear. There was a lot of brush and trees between it and I. I could not tell where it had gone. It was a scary, sort of exciting feeling at the same time. We went to search for tracks, but the riverbed where we thought it was walking was full of perfect skipping rocks. We found no prints." Now, after filming the creature walking behind a tree, the cameraman loses sight of it, and after scanning the trees for a bit, he decides to get out there. And yeah, the last thing you'd want is to see a Bigfoot and then not know where it is around you. That's a scary idea. So I don't have a lot of info on this last one, only that it was captured by a group of hikers in Colorado. Take a look at this. Alright, so a pretty hectic video, right? The camera is shaky as hell. We only get a quick glimpse of the creature before it runs into the brush. But all the same, the thing does look massive. And let's be honest, if you found yourself in this situation, would you really be holding the camera perfectly steady and getting like Stanley Kubrick level steady shots of the thing? Yeah, probably not. I'd love to know more about this video, so if anyone has any info, let me know down below. And what are your thoughts on Sasquatch and Bigfoot, Yeti, and whatever other hairy creatures you know? Terrifying shape-shifting creatures. They're found in folklore and urban legends from all around the world. But do we have any proof of their existence? From creepy, lanky beasts lurking in people's backyards to yellow-eyed monsters creeping behind trees, these are the top 10 terrifying shapeshifters that were caught on camera. Just what in the hell is this thing? This video was posted about a year back to Reddit by user PantyDinner2003, love it, with the heading, "Is this a skinwalker?" And it shows some dudes filming a field in Louisiana. In the field you see some deer and a couple small black shapes that almost appear to be dogs. Now, I like this already because clearly these guys have a reason to be filming. They're getting footage of the scenery and wildlife. With so many of these videos, you'll just see like someone just filming something and you're like, why are you even filming this in the first place? Other than if you're hoaxing a scary video. Anyway, then out of the trees comes this thing, which to me looks like it's galloping, but whatever this thing is, it's not a horse, but it doesn't look human either. It looks like it's running using its front arms maybe. They clearly look elongated. It's very strange. And at first I wasn't so sold on the cameraman's reaction. He's like, what the frick? Is that a guy?
What the frick? Is that a guy?
It just seemed like it was bad acting, but then they all started laughing nervously, and it seems like they were just in genuine shock and confusion at first. Anyway, this is an interesting video, but what do you all think? These images were posted to Reddit by user Perplexed Seal, along with a story during an AMA about skinwalkers. Perplexed Seal wrote, "I was around a fire with friends, and one of my friends told us about an experience they had with one before. I now know that you should not discuss these things in a setting like I was, next to dense forest as the sun was setting. As soon as she finished the story, she asked what was behind me. There was a tall white thing in the field right next to the woods behind it. It was pretty far away, but it felt like it was watching us. It looked like it was swaying or walking toward us. I got a gut feeling as soon as I saw it. I almost felt like puking. I watched it as my friend turned on their car, and as soon as they did, I saw it stand up on two legs, about 6 or 7 feet tall, and hide behind a bush. I drove home because I was spooked, but my friend stayed and later saw it running in circles in the field very fast before disappearing into the trees." The Reddit user later commented that their friends were able to snap a picture of the creature and they attached the images to the post. Tell me what y'all think this is. Yeah, just what is that thing? We only get a really super quick glimpse of it, but it's enough time to realize that it's something really wrong, and yeah, I'd just be gone. Gone as in running out of there, or gone as in dying of a heart attack. I'm not sure which, but either way, not sticking around in that forest. This clip was posted to Reddit by HasBeen42 with the title, "My friend recorded a potential skinwalker." And yeah, potentially. Gotta say though, HasBeen42, I think your friend recorded a potential chud. Let's throw up a picture of a chud from the 1984 classic creature feature, Chud. Looks pretty similar to me. The glowing yellow eyes, the lack of hair. I don't know. Maybe there's some chuds running around in the forest where these guys live. I would move. This eerie CCTV footage was taken in Mexico and the days leading up to Halloween. The homeowner heard some strange noises coming from his garage and decided to check on his dogs, but they were totally silent. As he walked into the garage, the surveillance footage caught something unsettling. A bizarre figure crouched behind one of the parked cars. At first, it's on all fours, but then it suddenly stands up on two legs. One of the man's dogs notices the thing, which seems to stretch and grow longer limbs as it lurks behind the cars. The man then approaches it, and as he gets closer, the figure ducks down. The guy went off to find his wife. By the time they got back, the thing had, I guess, stood up and walked out of sight. It looks like it's really hard to make out what this figure is. Its shape really does seem to change and morph throughout the video. If it is a person, they're incredibly slender. Some speculated that the thing was a Nahual, though, a creature from Mesoamerican folk religion with the power to shapeshift into animals. Well, this isn't what you'd want to see on your pleasant night drive through an empty grassy field at night. Take a look. Now, I don't know where this video originally came from. If any of you know, please let the rest of us know in the comments. All I can talk about is what I observe in the footage, which is someone spotting what looks like a naked man crawling through some grass in the middle of the night in a field somewhere, which, you know, that's not out of the ordinary at all. By the sounds of it, there's a woman behind the camera as we hear her gasp when she spots the thing. Then she starts rightfully reversing out of there, not before honking her horn though, and that part I don't quite get. Monster or just a lone naked fella crawling on all fours, I would not want to be getting his attention, but maybe she hit it by accident. You know what we never get enough supposed real footage of or photos of? Werewolves or dogmen. We get Sasquatch stuff all the time, but not enough of the Rougarou style creatures. Well, just back in late June, this image right here surfaced. Definitely looks like a wolf to me, but look closer, you'll see something's off about it. Now, aside from the fact that the thing just looks vicious, its body doesn't look human by any means, but not exactly your standard canine either. It almost looks part wolf, part man, as if it's in mid-transformation. The picture was snapped by a camera trap in Maine. Is this just a particularly big, freaky looking wolf? Is it a hoax? Or could this actually be something a little more extraordinary in the truest sense of the word? All I know is the thing looks like it wants to tear off some faces. In 2022, Paranormality magazine, they gotta change the name of that magazine, Paranormality magazine, they posted this odd video to the website formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, not something you'd enjoy coming across in real life, probably give you a nightmare or two, even though the hunched over walk just makes whatever this thing is look severely constipated. The footage was taken from a security camera outside a house in Moorhead, Kentucky. Some people said the thing looked like it could be extraterrestrial, others thought it was a hoax, or just some weirdo skulking outside the person's home. Now, you'll notice the camera moves around even though this was supposedly taken on a still security camera, but this is actually the homeowner filming their monitor. This isn't actually the footage taken straight from the security camera itself. Anyway, like with everything else on this list, what are your thoughts on this? Was there a weird creature outside this person's house with a really tight back, or is this one just totally fake? Take a look at this goat walking on its hind legs. I feel like most people will probably fall into one of two camps with this one. Either you'll find it funny because it's an animal doing some weird quirky stuff, or you'll feel slightly unsettled watching it. Is this just a goat who for some reason decided to try walking on its hind legs to see if it could? Maybe it hurt its front legs? Or is this goat the devil incarnate? Maybe the creature's not even a goat at all, but a man with the power to transform into a goat and then realizing he was in mid-transformation decided to walk into the barn to keep his magical powers a secret. I can say this for sure though, I'd have two starkly different reactions seeing this during the day versus seeing it at night. This video was posted to TikTok by Scary Videos 786, but it's a repost. Not sure where the original clip comes from, but this is a freaky one, real or not. So these two guys are holding up a big net, and you're like, like what's going on here? And then up from the stairs comes this hairy werewolf-looking half-man, half-animal thing. It's pretty outlandish, and I mean, gonna take a wild guess here and say this one probably ain't real, but hey, the world's a strange and wonderful place sometimes. Who really knows? If this video is real though, I'd love to know what they did with the thing after they caught it. Because I'd be like, all right, we bagged a werewolf in a net. What exactly is the next plan of action? This unsettling video is shared by TikTok user CryptTalker. I don't know if this was captured on a trail cam or a CCTV cam or what. I just know that this thing is just ick. Some say it looks like a rake, others think it could be a skinwalker. What do you all think though? Other than it being a hoax, because that could always be the case. At first you may think it's just a person hunched over walking on all fours, but it's just too lanky. This person would have to be seriously unwell. And look at the way its head moves right here. I do not like this. Yeah, I just don't think a human neck can bend that way, especially being on all fours. I kind of wonder if I could recreate this video if I set up a camera at night and tried walking like this. Like, could I even mimic the gait of whatever this thing is, whether it's a creature or just a really talented person? I'd like to try. I also don't really have the time or space to do it without making the neighbors very uncomfortable, so I'll probably just refrain. Sightings of mysterious entities have haunted and terrified us since the dawn of time. And yippee for us, we have cameras everywhere now. These are some of the scariest entities caught on camera that remain unexplained. TikToker LGAP posted a video with the caption, "Help me, there is something in my house." And based on this footage, I'd be inclined to believe him. Take a look. Yeah, this is one of my worst nightmares. Hearing a noise in the middle of the night, walking into the living room, only to spot a dark shape in the corner, of course, hoping it's just your eyes playing tricks on you. I mean, surely there's not really someone there. As soon as I flick on the lights, I'll find out it's just a coat I left there earlier, something like that. But then you flick on the light and whatever the thing was just vanishes. Now, I can't decide if a shadowy figure disappearing is worse than something still standing there when the lights come on. At least if it was still there, I wouldn't feel like I was losing my mind. Only way things could possibly get worse though is if you plucked up the courage to flick the lights off again and the mysterious shadowy entity was standing exactly where it was before, which is exactly what happens in the video. Next up we have a video from a now deleted Reddit user who spotted something peeking out at him while filming in an abandoned hospital ward somewhere in California. This is what he saw. Take a look. According to the original uploader who did maintenance work at the hospital, a security guard had told him that he'd kept seeing things while patrolling the ward at night and wanted someone else to see because he thought he was losing his mind. The guard suggested the Redditor film to see if he could pick anything up, and the uploader agreed. He didn't realize what his camera had picked up until he got home later and watched the footage back. When he saw it, his heart dropped, describing the realization of what he'd captured as the creepiest thing he'd ever seen. Now, people have commented saying that the figure, it just seems too dark. The hallway is bright enough that you'd think it would cast enough light on the figure to make out some features, but instead it appears as this featureless black mass. A creepy video for sure, and not the last hospital entity we have on the list. Just what did this man happen to spot in an abandoned hospital in Honduras? That does not look human. It almost looks like the ghost of E.T. or something to me, doesn't it? It doesn't even look like a human figure. Whatever it is though, it's creepy. There's an interesting backstory here as well. Supposedly strange things have been known to go on at this hospital. Lights will turn on and off patients' rooms and people will hear unexplained things at night. And why? Well, some believe that the hospital is haunted by the spirit of a doctor who took their own life at the hospital. Could this strange figure be the ghost of this doctor, or is this one just a hoax? Up next we have yet another hospital entity. Take a look at the doors behind the doctor here. So that is not a trick of the camera or the light. Someone or something very clearly passes by the door. Now, your first thought is probably, well, yeah, it's just a person, but watch what happens next. The cameraman is clearly shocked by what he's just seen. There's probably not meant to be anyone in that room, so he walks in to investigate, and what does he see? Nothing. It's an empty room, aside from the equipment anyway, and there doesn't appear to be any other exit. What we do see is a piece of equipment rolling as if someone has just bumped it as they walked by. Now, there are a few things I really like about this video. First of all, it's 16 years old, so it has that low quality video spook factor to it. Not too thrilled about 2008 being 16 years ago. That's kind of scarier than the video itself, but anyway. Commenters have also pointed out how unnatural this mysterious figure is. Not just because of how dark it is, but look at how it moves. It almost looks like it glides past the door rather than walking. It doesn't have like the bounce you have with normal steps. On top of that, it seems to glide by at a pretty good speed. What are your thoughts on this one? Let me know down below. This next clip was uploaded to YouTube by Joey Nolan. Take a look. A strange piece of footage indeed. Some sort of semi-translucent shape seems to be moving around at the top of the stairs. According to the uploader, the footage was captured on his home security camera on August 8th, 2019 at 12:54 a.m. Whatever it is, it seems to change shape throughout. At first, it almost looks like a small human figure walking out from the shadows of the kitchen before stopping at the top of the stairs. Then it almost looks like two floating orbs. Once again, I turn to you though. What do you all think of this one? A hoax, a piece of dust, or does it just look too uncanny to be faked? You know what always creeps me out? Chairs moving on their own. Luckily, I've never seen this happen in person myself, but the idea of it has always gotten under my skin. It's a horror trope that just always works. Reddit user the Dotty Dot posted this piece of footage taken at an elementary school after closing. Take a look at this. Now, on its own, the video ain't much. I mean, something like this could have easily been faked, but there is a story to go along with it as well. The Dotty Dot wrote, "My mom has worked for the school system for 28 years. The elementary school she worked at is said to be haunted, but she never mentioned seeing anything. She retired this year, but obviously she's still friends with all the staff. One of her close friends works there as a custodian and was cleaning up after hours, and she heard a noise. She went into this room to check it out and saw this chair doing this. It kept going, so she started recording it. I have no idea how long it went on. My mom sent it to me." A Reddit user by the name of ADRN916 posted this eerie image here with the caption, "Trail cam photo captured after lake was dug. Ghost hunter type team called them tree people." It's definitely an odd image. It almost looks like two ghostly figures emanating from a pair of trees or like partially fused with them, hence the name tree people. Also kind of looks like two people floating in midair. Now, background info on this is pretty scarce, but the uploader did post this image as well. Now we see two figures, possibly the same ones in the first image, running past the camera. The low quality could explain their kind of ghostly look, but there's still something eerie about the image. And according to the uploader, the property, which they don't own, the image comes from a friend of theirs, is pretty secluded. So even if these figures aren't paranormal, it's strange for people to just be roaming around the area. Apparently the property owner and his family have also reported hearing strange, inhuman screams at night. Take a look at this image of an abandoned asylum in Wales. Notice anything odd? Take a look at the top window in the middle. Here's a even closer look. Just what the hell is that? Well, the man who snapped the picture, Adam Smith, said he was walking past the abandoned Brecon and Radnor Lunatic Asylum when he spotted something glaring down at him from one of the second floor windows. In 2016, when the photo was taken, the asylum had been abandoned for over 15 years. So what was this thing? A squatter or something else? Interestingly, the asylum had also been used as a prisoner of war camp during World War II. An abandoned asylum and former prisoner of war camp definitely sets the stage for a haunting or two, making this ghoulish face seem a lot more unsettling. Reddit user Pink Cuppa posted this eerie family photo, writing, "This one's from my family. I don't really believe in ghosts, but this one gets me. The apparition, faintly visible over the deceased grandma, is a husband of the dead wife. The husband had already been dead for 5+ years. This photo was taken in central Poland roughly 20 years ago. My girlfriend is telling me this is just a trick of an old camera, but I highly doubt it. The apparition was already dead for at least 5 years. There are multiple pictures, some of which have been burned in horror of the apparition. It's a freaky image for sure, but a lot of commenters think this is a case of double exposure, and while that's most likely the case, it doesn't really take away from the creepiness to me. I mean, double exposure or not, the deceased husband still showed up in a photograph of his widowed wife's dead body. That's just weird. Was this just a coincidence, or had the husband's spirit somehow influenced the events that led up to a particularly freaky double exposure? Reddit user Kara4Ever2084 had been helping a friend move when this video was captured on his ring cam. According to the uploader, the shadowy figure doesn't look like anyone who was there. He writes, "In December of 2020, my wife and I were helping a friend unload stuff from his truck into the house. As we wound down, we were catching up and joking around. My friend's phone went off. He checked it, and it was a notification from his ring cam, which was mounted on the middle of the window of the front door. It said there was a motion detected, and it sent him this vid. We were the only people there, and we were just outside the door. None of us saw anything with the naked eye." You're filming some deer in your backyard when suddenly a ghoulish looking face forms behind them. Then you realize the face is actually a reflection on the window from the inside. It's standing right behind you. These are more demons that realized they were caught on camera. So you wake up one morning to find holes in your garage door. You check your security camera to see what's going on, and while skimming through the footage, you see this. Now, I can't find the source of the original video here, so if any of you can, please let me know down below. But my god, whatever the hell this thing is, it doesn't appear to be human. I think if I saw holes in a wooden door in my backyard, I might think it was a raccoon, maybe a large rat. But Gollum? I think that's the last thing I'd be expecting or wanting to see. The pig demon. Take a listen to this before I give you all the backstory. Can you make that out? Sounds a lot like someone saying, "I have the body of a pig," which wouldn't be so freaky if anyone in the room had said that they remembered hearing it or that they'd said it themselves. But nobody did. It wasn't until they looked over the footage later that this audio came up. This video was uploaded to YouTube by Devin Raymond, who wrote in the description that the recording was an EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon, picked up in a secret location during his tenure as a special guest and resident expert with a group that he can't disclose. Now, the EVP on its own is pretty disconcerting, but check out what they caught on camera later on. While filming into a dark crevice, they picked up this still image right here. Definitely would have been disturbing in person, or even going back and looking at the footage you'd taken earlier, knowing you were right there with whatever this thing was. But I like the fact that this demonic spirit or ghost or whatever it may have been would just announce to everyone, "I have the body of a pig." You look at it, it's like, I guess, yeah, you do look a little piggish. This next video comes to us from Reddit user Kipper2. Take a look. Now, pretty much everyone in the comments, including me, is saying this is a reflection on the window coming from inside the house. And while you could say it's just someone standing behind the camera person, take a closer look at the reflection. That looks like the demon face that shows up at the end of Skinamarink. Just what the hell is that? It looks almost like two faces kind of attached together. Kipper2 also gave some context in the description, writing, "A family member of mine shared this live photo she took of a deer in her and her husband's front yard. The two of them lived alone in this old southern farmhouse, previously owned by an older gentleman who had passed away in the home. She'd complained a few times about hearing walking in the attic. It wasn't long after this photo that they decided to move out. And yeah, best not to take your chances and just get out of there." See what happens when you mess with Ouija boards? Take a look at this. This video was posted to YouTube by Ouija Warning, a very apt name for a channel with a video like this. In the 2 or so minute clip, we watch as a group of girls and dudes mess with a Ouija board. One woman in the video, the one who ends up freaking out at the end, is laughing and joking the whole time as the planchette begins spelling out Zozo. She then asks if the spirit's name is Zozo, and when the planchette moves to yes, she begins to laugh again. Only this time, her laughter becomes less joyful and more hysterical, in a pained panicked sort of way. Now, I've talked about Zozo on the channel before, a demonic entity said to haunt Ouija boards. An entity so malicious it's been known to cause physical harm on those who are unfortunate enough to run into it. Basically, if you're playing with a Ouija board and you end up contacting an entity and the letter Z or Z, depending on where you live, comes up at all, just stop right there. It's such a rare letter, unless you asked it what its favorite anime is and the words dragon and ball came before, just don't take your chances. The Valentine Ghost. This footage was taken in the Valentine Museum in Victor, New York. Take a look. On April 21st of 2006, paranormal investigation was being carried out at the museum. Now, the quality of this footage isn't great, but you do see what looks like a semi-translucent figure walking out of the shadows and past the camera. This has actually become a rather famous piece of footage in paranormal circles as well, because apparently it's never been fully definitively explained. According to the New York Haunted Houses website, the historic Valentine Museum was built in 1879, originally called Valentine Hall. It's a 5-story building which is now a museum with thousands of old artifacts and a good number of ghosts. Spirits have been known to play an old-fashioned music box, move tools around in the basement, and people have even seen full-blown apparitions. So, is this strange figure in the video one of these ghosts? Let me know your thoughts down below. This image right here comes from Reddit user According Pangolin84, who writes, "I'm not familiar with ghosts and paranormal things, so I don't know the logic behind anything, but I came across this old photo I have from a haunted mansion in Utah. This place was a hot spot to break into during high school, and my friends did it and wanted a photo while I stayed back in the car. The figure in the back is what I suspect to be some kind of ghost. I only had 2 friends go in the house for a photo." The Reddit user also gave some context about this haunted mansion itself in a follow-up post, writing, "It's called the Benjamin Pump House in Utah. It has no electricity and is pretty much empty on the inside besides garbage. Growing up, I heard a lot of stories about scary interactions in the house, people reporting footsteps and the feelings of being watched. As far as my friends and what they felt, all I can recall is them talking about what sounded like someone walking through the brush around the house, and there was a weird creaking that also circled around the house, but nothing in relation to being watched or feeling like there was someone else in there." This image here was shared by Reddit user PositiveCable1487, who writes, "Earlier this month, my sister and her partner went to the Stanley Hotel. Don't know the backstory on the mirror, but apparently there are many reports of sightings in it. This is the photo my sister took. She said the mirror was squeaky clean in person, no smudges." Now, this image may not be all that creepy on its own, but the Stanley Hotel definitely is. Let me tell you fine folks about it. The Stanley Hotel is famously the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. He'd been snowed in there with his family in 1974 while on a trip to the Rocky Mountains National Park. They happened to be the only guests there and found the place rather eerie. And King isn't the only guest to have found the place unsettling. Tons of people have reported spooky encounters at the hotel, like the ghost of a woman named Mrs. Wilson, former chambermaid, said to haunt room 217. Staff have reported hearing sounds of people dancing and laughing in the ballroom, only to find nobody there. Guests will often report seeing dark figures standing over their beds at night, and it's said that the spirit of the former landowner, Lord Dunraven, will often be seen staring out the window of room 407. From TikToker Ahab Kasmaya1 comes a terrifying encounter he had while exploring an abandoned building. He's filming down a dark hallway when suddenly a knocking sound is heard off camera, and when the urban explorer pans to take a look, this is what happened. Now, instead of screaming at the top of his lungs and running away at top speed, the brave man begins praying instead, and the entity retreats back into the shadows. Which, you know what, hey, seemed to work great and all, but here's another idea: just don't be there in the first place. You win every fight you walk away from at the end of the day. Reddit user HealthyMagician895 posted this series of images here, along with a description reading, "I was messing around in my mom's room taking a video when my friend pointed out something at the corner of the door. At the end of the video, I went back to the mirror, but it was gone. Can somebody explain this? I'm genuinely creeped out." And yeah, fair enough. I'd be genuinely creeped out too if I saw that thing peeking out at me from the doorway. Here's what's interesting about this photo too. It reminds me a lot of a video I shared in part 1. If you'd like to watch part 1, by the way, link is in the description. But just for a quick comparison, check this out. Yeah, pretty eerily similar. Even the positioning. What do you all think though? Hoax? Or is there a ghoulish demon thing crawling around people's houses and peering out at them from the tops of door frames? I certainly hope not. Imagine hearing a noise in your hallway at 3 a.m., going out into your hallway to check it out, and spotting this. This one comes from TikToker Official Empty Alien. I don't even care that's not real. I had to throw it on here because that is some fuel for your nightmares right there. The long fingers slowly creeping into frame. I think that's what really does it for me. This is pretty much the exact face I'd scare the crap out of myself, imagining it as a youngster popping up in a window or glaring at me from the bottom of the stairs at night. It's kind of uncanny actually too. The white face, the glare, the big eyes and the teeth. I don't know, it's always what I'd imagine for whatever reason. And then I'd be up all night. Fun times. Anyway, with all that said.